What is up, everybody? Stevie B here at Dynasty Life Fantasy Football. And, another breaking news was Calvin Ridley, right? Calvin Ridley now goes to the Jaguars. It's funny that he actually went to the Jaguars literally just a week ago, not even. Probably last week's on one of last week's live streams. I brought up that Trevor Lawrence needs a number one guy because Kirk is just not a number one receiver. And I had threw out there, what if they went and traded for Calvin Ridley, right? I mean, the Falcons were trying to trade Calvin Ridley even last season before, everything came out and he got suspended. They were trying to trade him. So I didn't expect him to be on the Falcons when he came back from his suspension in the first place. So it was definitely a possibility they could move him. I didn't have any knowledge that it would be the Jaguars or where exactly he would go. I just had threw it out there. And then it happened to actually come true. So you've got Ridley now, a bona fide number one wide receiver, now going to the Jaguars to play with Trevor Lawrence. Huge boost for Trevor Lawrence, especially in Dynasty. Now he gets, that main number one guy that he really needs because Kirk just wasn't that guy. And I've been saying this, since last year. Kirk had the opportunity last year to really take over for the Cardinals with all the injuries that they had, and he just did not. He did not. He's a number two wide receiver. He's a great, a great wide receiver, but he's not, that number one guy. He's just not. And we see that this year as well, where the first few games he kind of, went off, had his touchdowns, and now all of a sudden it's starting to fizzle out, and we're starting to see, the real Christian Kirk. And, team realizes it, and that's why they went out and got a guy like Calvin Ridley, who just, is gonna be great for this team, especially for Trevor Lawrence, and some of these young guys on the team. So, no, it's a great trade from Calvin Ridley is, still a wide receiver one pretty much going into next season. New place play, obviously, he's got Trevor Lawrence, good young QB, and, they'll be flinging it around, and I expect Calvin Ridley to still be, from what I believe, still be a wide receiver one, in the NFL. So, as long as he can get the targets, of course, and the target share, which I don't think will be much of a problem. But again, listen, the guy hasn't played in a year and a half now, almost 2 years. So, I'm not gonna go out and draft him as a wide receiver one. So let me rephrase that. Let me make sure I'm saying that correctly. Next year, I don't know if I'm gonna go out and draft him as a wide receiver one. I think he has the possibility to finish as a wide receiver one, but let's just play it safe and call him a wide receiver two with wide receiver one upside. Because that's how you want to draft him. You don't want to start drafting him, early like with some of these other guys. So, if you can get a good, you can draft him in a good position. That's what I would say going, for next year. But again, excited for Ridley, and I really knew that he was going to get traded. Everybody should have knew that since again they were trying to trade this guy from last year, even before, everything that happened. So he's obviously now again bona fide number one. Kirk finally gets his correct role, which can be that wide receiver too, for the Jaguars. So, I mean, the Jaguars are looking up. I mean, they've got ETN now. They shipped off J-Rob, went with ETN, which was a good move. He seems really explosive. So now you've got ETN, you've got Trevor Lawrence, you've got Ridley and Kirk, and now you're looking good. You're looking like a real offense. So if Trevor Lawrence can kind of take that next step with Calvin Ridley, that is going to be great for them going forward. Obviously, in redraft, this means nothing for this year, as Calvin Ridley is suspended. But again, in Dynasty, I love it for Trevor Lawrence. I also like it for Ridley. I think he's got a nice few years there. So if you've got Calvin Ridley on your Dynasty team, you can hold on to him, or you can trade him right now with all the hype and try and get something. I mean, people might jump at it, where you can kind of take advantage, and get kind of whatever get what you want there. But otherwise, just hold on to him. If you don't have him, I mean, it's gonna be you should have tried to trade for him before this happened, which I actively kind of was, but you've got to try and trade from him before this happened. Because now with the news coming out, it's gonna be rough. Now, you can wait for shit to cool off. Obviously, with the news, um, everybody skyrockets as far as the value, or it goes up and down, obviously, as the season goes on. But wait till the off season, maybe. Wait till right after where things kind of cool down, and then try and get him at that point. Because going into next season, he's gonna cost you a lot. There's gonna be just so much talk about it. You're gonna see him, in uniform. You're gonna see him on the practice field, and from that point on, value is gonna go up and up and up. So just be careful there as far as if you're trying to buy him. Don't spend an arm and a leg. Just see what you can do, but. Otherwise, like I said, if you got him, hold on to him. Great news for Calvin Ridley. Wasn't sure kind of where he was going to go, but he gets put in a good place. It could be worse. So good news for Calvin Ridley there. But you guys, let me know what you think about Calvin Ridley. Let me know what you think about the move to the Jaguars. Whether you like it, whether you don't like it. How do you guys think he's going to do? Hit that like. Drop what your thoughts are in the comments. Hit that subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for tuning in.